Midnight Music.
Coming up this week on Kings of the Rings podcast, the future is Endeavor for WWE after a record-setting WrestleMania. However, the future isn't so clear for both Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes. We break down one of the biggest acquisitions in the history of sports and entertainment, as well as the instant classic that was WrestleMania 39. So sit back, relax, break a leg. You're here, McMahon. Tear a quad, because it's Kings of the Rings podcast, episode number 335, the Hollywood Hangover, exclusively on Wrestle Addict Radio. And it starts right now.
More like the Kings of the Rings quadcast, am I right?
Oh, very nice.
That's what we should have called it, the Kings of the Rings quadcast.
You know, looking back at it, maybe we should have called it the quadcast. That would be really, really fucking funny. Just have a picture of
the Kings of the Rings quadcast, dude.
Just have a picture of Shane.
That's why we can't name episodes beforehand anymore.
Hollywood
right?
Hangover had good alliteration. I'm sticking with it.
I do love alliteration.
And the cover's awesome.
Remember we used to do that? We didn't name shows until the end.
Well, yeah, that's because we weren't live. I had to have something up there on the title screen.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
it really does fuck you up.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Kings of the Rings podcast, episode number 335, the Hollywood Hangover. I am your host, King Ricky Rose, and I am almost tired of all the wrestling that I watched in the past week. However, there's a lot of stuff to talk about in the ring, and most importantly, outside of the ring, one of the biggest acquisitions in the history of essentially business in the modern era that we have to really discuss. Kay is at Dynamite, and lo and behold, yay, Jay White showed up. We kind of figured that. Will, how are you doing?
$9 billion is a lot of money. Where can I cash in?
That's true. I don't know where you can cash in.
Future Endeavor.
Yeah,
that's me cashing in. That's pretty good. I'm good, man. It was a great week of wrestling. WrestleMania was a lot of fun. I get Chinese on Saturday, pizza on Sunday, leftovers on Monday and Tuesday.
Nice.
Hell yeah, it was
You
good.
and the toilet must have been great friends.
Oh, we were. It was not anything out of the ordinary, but we did do a party pie. It was 24 inches of cheddar and pulled pork on the pizza.
Wow.
Yeah, it was really good.
So, like, was there
$48.
barbecue sauce with it or not?
No, we could have if we wanted to. 'Cause I had barbecue sauce. I didn't think of that.
Yeah.
But it was like a regular cheese marinara pie with cheddar and pulled pork.
Interesting. Yeah.
Topping.
Oh, shut up. Right. Hey, what's going on, Mr. YLP? Thank you for showing up. It's no fumble. Jay White is not needed in WWE, and we can talk about that at a later date. But
yeah, if they wanted him, they would have got him.
Yeah. It's there's no fumble with Jay White. Trust me.
They didn't fumble. They just like, why play the game?
Yeah.
They didn't even bother playing the game.
Did you see that WrestleMania? Jay White's not needed.
They're like, we just sold for $9 billion. We can have a switchblade in here. We can barely have the guns.
Yeah, so WrestleMania weekend was wild. We're going to break that all down. We are pretty much primarily going to be talking about WrestleMania weekend because there's a lot of information that has come out about WrestleMania, but more importantly, there's a lot of information regarding the future of WWE as a whole. Yes, we are talking about the Endeavor deal. So, a couple of months ago, at the return of Vince McMahon, there was rumblings about a future sale of the company, with the big rumor and the big scare was that it was going to be sold to the Saudis, or maybe a company like NBC Universal, Fox, so on and so forth. I didn't think it was going to be sold to the people who hold UFC. Last people on my mind, but we should have seen this coming.
I'm shocked. I'm shocked because it makes me wonder if Dana White and Vince McMahon had a conversation, and I would love to have that recorded. Just listening to them two talk, he's like, but my sport's real. Come on, pal. It's real entertainment. No. Mine's real. Right.
Yeah.
Like, this deal is crazy, and I'm glad it's going to a company I've never heard of, because that means I think it's not going to change that much.
No. Long story short for this, and we'll break it down a little bit more after I read kind of the report from CNBC, nothing is actually going to change with the product in theory that we know about. It's just that they're going to answer to a couple more people instead of their own board. They have another board to answer to. That's pretty much the gist of it.
And the board only cares about the money and the returns.
Yeah. So
yeah, it's like we didn't buy you to take control. We bought you to profit off of you, so we don't have to do anything.
Correct.
Pretty much.
That is exactly what it is. And something to keep in mind, I don't have the press release actually at handy with me, but initially WWE had been talking about when they were going into looking at buying, the word was strategic alternatives was what they were looking for. Mean? They were looking at strategic alternatives. It's just jargon to say, hey, we're actually going to we're looking to sell a company, we're going to see how much money we can get. Strategic alternatives.
It's like evaluation.
Yeah. Yeah. We're gonna put it up for sale. We're gonna see what we can get for it, and if the money's good, if the deal is right, we're gonna sell it. If it's not, we're gonna keep it. Strategic alternatives. It's just coding. The rumor is that Vince McMahon put the company up for his asking price was $8 billion.
Which sounds about right.
Little above what their market value is, but that's fucking fine. You never sell a house for market value either. You always kind of sell it up.
Yeah, I would have, if I had to guess how much it's worth, I would have guessed around $8-10 billion. Mm-hmm. Sure. Yeah.
So it was sold, and there were probably some suitors. There's rumors that Saudi was probably a suitor for it. There were probably some other companies or other brands that were saying, yeah, we'll pay $8 billion for it because have you seen WrestleMania this week? Yeah, they're worth $8 billion, at least. But according to what we have, so far, the report from CNBC is saying that Endeavor, World Wrestling Entertainment, has agreed to merge with UFC to form a new publicly traded company controlled by the Endeavor Group. The company's announced Monday morning. Endeavor will own a 51% stake in the new combat sports and entertainment company, while WWE shareholders will have the remaining 49%. For the most part, this is the same deal that's actually going on right now. 51-49. This is kind of commonplace with people holding majority stake in the company, and since it is publicly traded, the other 49% goes to the public. This is common practice. Okay.
Well, yeah. So that's true because the public company, if Endeavor's private, I'm assuming, or does it not matter?
And it doesn't matter. Endeavor's managing it, but UFC and WWE are going to be merging and creating their own company.
That's right, because the stock, I didn't even think about that. WWE is a public company. What does that mean for the stock and the shareholders? Like, they get paid too. They gotta get paid out for something. The stock value of the stock is not going to go down because it's only 49% of the whole product.
There's more information on this as it comes up. So it said the deal values WWE at $9.3 billion and UFC, which is owned by Endeavor, at $12.1 billion, the company said in a press release, which I can pull up. So this new company is going to be valued at $21 billion.
Say as much as that's like what Twitter's worth.
Yeah. Okay. So Ari Emanuel, who's the guy who owns Endeavor, Ari Emanuel, will act as chief executive of both Endeavor and the new company, the company said. McMahon, likewise, will be the executive chairman, while Endeavor president and COO, chief operating officer Mark Shapiro, will also work in the same roles at the new company. Dana White will remain president of UFC, and WWE CEO Nick Khan will stay on as president of the wrestling business, aka WWE. So let's break down the hierarchy here for everybody to understand. So this is similar to the Alphabet company owning Google, who owns Fitbit. It's similar to the Disney company who owns Marvel, Star Wars, National Geographic, ESPN, ABC. Same thing. They are all Marvel. Yeah. They
Star
Wars. Yes. So these companies like Star Wars, Marvel are allowed to act independently, and companies like Alphabet, who owns Google, or Disney in this instance is probably the best analogy for it, just oversees them and makes sure that they're continually making money for them.
It's a facade to make them think you're not a monopoly.
Yeah, essentially, it's diversifying your assets.
Yeah.
for the most part.
So we have competition. It's like I didn't know that there's only like 4 beer manufacturers. Like Coors and Corona's owned by the same parent company.
Anheuser-Busch, right?
Anheuser-Busch.
Yeah.
But yeah, but like, I don't know if those are two things, but it's like
Anheuser-Busch is one
there's so
company.
many beer options out there, but not all owned by the same parent company.
No, but they're
It's like it's weird.
Yeah, that's why like the local brewery thing has kind of like jumped up in the past couple of years.
Yeah. So when you think about it, this deal is just so typical American business.
Mm-hmm.
Like this shit exists everywhere.
Yeah. So let's again break it down. So Ari Emanuel is head of Endeavor. He is going to be the overseer of all overseas. And don't bring up Wu-Tang Financial, Mr. YLP. Great reference.
Okay. They better do it with Wu-Tang Financial. That's a great callback, dude. Wu-Tang.
How have I not seen a meme about that yet? I don't know. So anyway, Ari Emanuel will be running Endeavor and also and it's the overseer of all overseas. So everybody has to answer to Ari Emanuel if he so chooses. Then under that, you're going to have this new business that's merged together. Think of the WWE merger and the UFC merger as like, could you imagine if the NFL and the NBA said, we're just going to form our own super league?
Yeah, right.
Or her own super company. Or what if, like, for college football, what if the SEC and the Big Ten said, fuck everybody else, we're going to do our own thing?
Theoretically, though, Ricky, they could. The NBA and the NFL theoretically could do that.
Yeah. This is exactly the kind of a thing. So this new company, which is going to have the stock market initials of TKO, which is hysterical, by the way. They don't have a name for it yet, but this company is going to essentially be the parent company of WWE and UFC. WWE and UFC are still going to be WWE and UFC. They're just going to be owned by a company that's going to be created. Whatever they're going to call it, we don't know.
Yeah, the branding's not going to change.
Yes, the branding is not going to change.
The name isn't going to change.
Correct.
It's still going to be UFC champion. It's still going to be like Joe Rogan's still going to work for the UFC.
Exactly.
Like, yeah.
Yeah, they're not going to.
It's just the only thing that's changing is legal paperwork. That's pretty much it.
Pretty much it. And so we're going to.
It's that and money behind it. It's like it's all.
You got to follow the money. Yeah.
It's all backdoor stuff.
You got to follow the money. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's more to this.
It's money and legal paperwork is really the only difference.
So the board of this new company will consist of 11 people, 6 appointed by Endeavor, who already owns UFC, so that's whatever, and 5 appointed by WWE. So like we said, the merged company's name will be announced at a later date. So blah blah blah. We're talking about McMahon here. Shares of WWE this was Monday morning. Shares of WWE are up more than 33% this year as of Friday's closing bell, giving it a market value of $6.79 billion. So they pretty much sold for about almost $3 billion above market value.
Let's see, the past 5 days our stock price is up 10%.
Yeah.
Up $9.
Mm-hmm.
Past month it's up 20% in the past month. 35% in the past 6 months. Year to date, it's up 44%. I mean, this just keeps going up. The 1 year is up 60%. 5 years, it's up 163%. And all time, it's up 312%.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, Jesus Christ, what a great investment.
Yeah, exactly. So there is actually more to the story. CNBC reports. They talk about the history of McMahon, but they say after Vince McMahon came back in January, Stephanie McMahon stepped down. Nick Khan fully assumed the role of CEO. The Elder McMahon, and here's something I don't think you know. The Elder McMahon recently locked in a 2-year employment contract according to securities filings. It's not only.
Really? Oh, he's an employee again.
He's an employee of WWE again. Yes.
Yeah, I did know that.
Yeah.
Also, WWE stock was $8 in 2002.
What is it now?
Okay, like it's actually March. Let's go April. April 19th, 2002 is $15. That's like after WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm.
Right now it's at 98.
Jesus Christ. My goodness.
Yeah, dude. That's
Yes. Fretch, we are going to talk about creative automatically changing because creative automatically changed. It was evident on Monday, but we'll talk about that. Let's talk about Vince McMahon's new contract real quick. You want to hear this shit, Will?
Yes, please.
As part of his
I bet it includes blowjobs.
As part of his latest contract, which comes with an annual base salary of $1.2 million.
Yeah, naturally.
Which includes an incentive bonus target of 175% of that salary. Okay.
It's like $4 million. That's like $4 million.
So if this is the securities filing came out before the merger.
No, it's not.
So it said if a deal were to be closed, which the deal was closed, McMahon receives $2.4 million lump sum payout, plus his incentive bonus would be doubled and paid up front. McMahon just made bank off of this deal.
Not gonna lie, dude. Seeing that the deal was worth $9 billion, I feel like he got shortchanged a little bit. I feel like he needs another zero on all of those numbers. Like it should be $10.2 million, and then 425% of that number up front. Like, dude, like, am I not wrong here? It's like we realize how small of a number that is in comparison to $9 billion in the sale. Someone who's a majority shareholder, like that's pretty modest.
Yeah. So it's crazy. So there's more here. It says WWE offers Endeavor's shareholders a muscular media and live events business as well as decades worth of intellectual property. The company generated $1.29 billion in revenue last year, driven mainly by its $1 billion media unit, which we knew because of the contracts that they got. UFC, meanwhile, has paid off for Endeavor. Last year, MMA League helped its parent company sports business make $1.3 billion in revenue. Endeavor's market cap stood at $10.53 billion as of last Friday. So, let's talk about this. Not only was this deal finalized, like we kind of already talked about, and like I said, nothing is really changing. Well, the other thing that we also have to be aware of is they actually went on TV and talked about this on CNBC on Monday. Villain Vince, as I like to call him now.
Yeah, he was on TV. I saw that too.
There's a couple of things that is very interesting. So Vince was asked about whether or not he's going to be in charge of creative. He said he's not going to be in the weeds as much as he was before. Ironically, this is the same kind of vernacular and vocabulary he used after he hired Eric Bischoff and Paul Heyman to run Raw and SmackDown respectively, and
which lets you know he's fucking lying.
Yes, yeah.
He's lying. Of course he's gonna say that because he wants you to think the TV product's good. Like,
yeah.
He wants you to, because if he says yes, I'm back in charge of creative, he knows people are gonna shit on his product, which isn't good when you're trying to sell it.
Yeah.
Let people think Triple H is in charge. It's not working, but let people think Triple H is in charge, and then you go do what you want to do.
So I was actually looking at some people's commentary on this, a lot of people who are more market savvy than I am, and they talked about Vince came back for a reason. Okay, the reason was not to sell the company. The reason was for he can maintain power. And it's very, very possible and very likely that Vince did have other offers from other people, probably also including Saudi. But Vince wanted to retain power of the company at all costs, no matter what. He's 77. He's never going to give it up. Also, why should he? But that's another topic for another time. What I think is very telling of that is, number one, the strategic alternatives thing that WWE was putting out, especially in their presser, which at the end of the announcement of the merger, they said this concludes our looking at strategic alternatives. Number one. Yeah. Number two, Ari Emanuel, who was sitting side by side with Vince on CNBC on Monday, said, well, after Vince said that he was pretty much going to be done with the wrestling business, and Ari Emanuel said, we know Vince said he was probably going to be done, but I was not going to allow Vince to leave the wrestling business, which is code for I was allowing Vince to retain power of the company as long as he gave it to me.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is.
Which is his right.
And that's probably what sold the deal. Aria's like, I'll take your company. You can still be an executive chairman of the board. Executive of WWE. You can still maintain power over your company.
All right. So you're Endeavor, right? Mm-hmm. Vince McMahon tells you, I want the power. Like, I see your price, but I want the power. Do you go extra billion, lose power, make that offer, or go take off $1 million, you got a deal? take off $1 billion and get a deal? Would you try and add $1 billion or try and take off $1 billion? If Vince tells you he really just wants power.
All right, so if he's okay. Let me think about this here.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, because if you give Vince an extra $1 billion, he might be like, all right, fine. But if you also go, I'll do the deal, but take off $1 billion, he might also go, all right, fine. So, like, you know what I mean?
For me, my strategy would be, my strategy in that instance would be if he really says he wants the power, then I'm taking off $1 billion and still giving him power.
Yeah, I agree.
That's what I would do.
That's probably what I would do too.
Because if you figure out, but his sole purpose of this, which I believe it wholeheartedly was to remain in power, because he probably felt embarrassed that he was so essentially kicked out of his own company, and he's probably
talk about controlling a narrative, Vince. Christ, EC3, take notes.
He's probably very vengeful about that, which this seems to be the case, especially if you looked up on Raw on Monday. If his sole interest is just control, I'll give you control, but I'm not gonna buy it for as much as you want right now.
Dude, he probably thinks he's such a hero too.
In his own mind, yes.
Yeah.
In his own mind,
own mind, he's like, Vincent McMahon, you did it again. You clever bastard.
He's like beating his chest.
Right? Like, it's just in his bed, like, in tidy whities, just going crazy.
Exactly. So
it's like, dude, Vince, you're the heel here.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. It is, and it's damningly obvious that Vince was in power. If you looked at the Raw after Mania, there's nothing to talk about at the Raw after Mania that we're not going to cover in the rest of the show as we review WrestleMania. And let's do that right now. Let's kick it off with, this is going to be a hot topic. Before we get into the main event of main events, let's talk about WrestleMania as a whole. I have some stats for you, Will, that I think you're going to enjoy. WrestleMania, by the numbers, this year's WrestleMania was the most successful WrestleMania of all time. We are talking about a total weekend attendance of 161,892.
Kayfabe.
Well, when you think about it, I figured out the science to it is that you also include everybody in that building. So it's like fire marshal numbers.
Oh, so you're including staff and crew?
That jumps it up. There's a lot of people on that crew. There's a lot of.
I wonder if that's like they've been doing that forever. So like the
it
original
sounds like it. Probably
WrestleMania 3 number might be like not fudged. It's a real number. Just it's not honest on what the number actually means.
Yeah, exactly. But it's still something you can promote on. So the WrestleMania gate. This is talking about ticket sales at the gate. $21.6 million.
Well, that's LA and inflation and Ticketmaster.
Okay, $21.6 million, which is breaking the previous record by 27%.
LA inflation and Ticketmaster.
Okay,
it's monopoly.
Whatever. This is also the most social WrestleMania of all time, with over 500 million social media views, 11 million hours of social media video consumed over 2 days.
Yeah, that's knocking futs.
Which is a 42% increase over last year's numbers.
That's pretty crazy.
Okay, it gets you more viewership of Night 1 of WrestleMania surpassed existing global viewership by 28%.
And that's the real reason why Vince sold to Peacock. Mm-hmm. Because WWE's included. So Peacock as itself has become a better streaming service.
Because of WWE.
And because of other factors.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's got what's that show? Yellowstone, whatever it's called.
Yellowstone got big, yes.
Like, people love that. So, like, Peacock as itself has become a better streaming service with and without WWE. Mm-hmm. So that gives them a natural bump, which is good business.
Yeah. Here's another one for you. Night 2 of WrestleMania surpassed existing global viewership by 33%, which is absurd to think about. Absolutely absurd. There's more. Merchandise sales were up 20% versus last year's WrestleMania.
Inflation. And it's LA.
Mm-hmm. And as we talked about, sponsorship revenue eclipsed $20 million, which is more than 2 times the previous record. There was a lot of sponsors.
Dude, they hoard out so hard.
A lot of sponsors. But hey, they're paying WWE to be on the show. I get it.
Well, I mean, it's also, they got to fill 2 nights.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, no, I get it. And that show costs money. Look at that fucking set.
I was going back and forth all day. I want sponsors I don't care about or wrestling matches I don't care about. And I still don't have an answer for you. I hate both of them so much.
So that's WrestleMania by the numbers. That is knucking futz. They went all out for WrestleMania. Overall...
Yeah, dude, Hollywood. They did a great job.
And they did a great job. Here's the thing. They also did a great job of integrating the Hollywood feel to this WrestleMania. Because
Kevin Hart was really funny.
I mean, WrestleMania always has some kind of like tagline, like, you know, the most stupendous WrestleMania, the greatest thrill ride,
Deadly Games.
You know, but it's not all the time that they actually stick to the theme throughout the whole show. And for most of this weekend, they stuck to the theme with entrances. The way it was marketed, it was beautiful. It was like watching a Hollywood movie come to life. It was really cool.
The set was, oh my God, the set.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it was so fucking pretty.
Yeah.
I like a set where you can have the fans behind it. It's a great visual.
And also helps boost the attendance.
Yes, and the camera angles. Like
camera angles are beautiful. It reminds me of
Theory's entrance when you just like look at all these fucking people it's cool to see it from their perspective. Or Kevin Owens, we walked out of the Gorilla.
Yeah.
And you see the sea of people in the nighttime, and it was gorgeous and purple.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it was great. It reminds me of a 32 seconds. Remember, the 32 set was also really low in Dallas.
Yeah.
It was really low. So it just looks so much bigger. So much. I mean, that stadium is massive in and of itself, but it looks so much bigger. So that's WrestleMania by the numbers. But let's talk about what everybody is in a little bit of a tussle about, including myself.
I told you guys.
That finish to WrestleMania. Regardless of the outcome, that is a true main event. I've never listened to and watched what I felt like a big fight feel. I'm talking, this is like Thrilla in Manila, like Ali Frazier.
Dude, I was so pumped. Like, dude, I'm not even kidding. Like, they were coming out, like, the entrances, and I got really excited, and, like, the match started. I think Solo got ejected. Like, my friend called me. I didn't even pick up the phone. And I was just like, then fuck you. I don't care what the fuck you got to say. I don't care if your grandmother's dead. I'm watching this fucking main event.
So interesting thing about it, like night one, my friend called me, and I'm usually like, oh, hey, what's up? And I literally was so interested. I was like, what do you want? And they're like, to talk? I'm like, I'm watching WrestleMania. They're like, oh my God, I'm sorry, I'm going, bye. I was so in the zone for this WrestleMania. But let's talk about this controversial or somewhat controversial main event. Number one,
I told you guys.
Cody's entrance, unbelievable. Very Homelander. He had the eagle wings, very Captain America. It was awesome. That whoa was phenomenal. I thought it was. They painted Cody as the biggest babyface in the history of wrestling. You brought out Brody Lee's kid, John Huber's kid.
Dude, I can't believe Tony Khan let an AEW superstar be featured on WrestleMania.
Yeah, -1. -1.
Yeah, -1 is he has technically has a contract.
Yeah.
What if he sued him? You're in breach of contract.
Did you notice what was on that belt that he gave, and that they
signatures
that they also used in it wasn't signatures. It was actually the letters of all the different wrestling promotions that Brody Lee was ever a part of.
Really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Which, by the way, that's the same belt they used in the match, which I thought was also very interesting as well. Like,
yeah, I was like, how'd they get it back?
I was like, I really hope they gave it back to that fucking to that kid, because he really deserved it. Amanda Huber was there. Brody Lee's wife was also there. You had Brandy there, his daughter Liberty. That's what
I would do.
Yeah, I mean, wow. All of that there, mega babyface. Roman's final boss piano entrance. Beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah, it was so good. Dude, I was like, Jazz was like, I don't get it. I was like, that's a beautiful man. How dare you? How dare you? I just look at him like he's glistening. He is shiny. Like, you don't find him sexy? She's like, eh. I'm like, well, I do. What are you doing?
Who are you?
What's wrong with you?
Who are you? But listen, that crowd, I've never seen something so big fight. This might have been a bigger big fight field than Rock Hogan. I'm going to call it right now.
Well, yeah, because you didn't know who was going to win. That's the thing. You had no idea who was going to win, and you were happy either way. At least I was.
Most people were.
Most people were happy either way.
I mean, I can go... Oh, go ahead, Will, sorry.
Like when I don't want to talk about Raw that much, but like when Triple H introduced Roman, he cut this huge promo of like, hey, we just sold the company. Thank you to everybody, the wrestlers, the crew, obviously the fans, but most of all, this fucking guy. And it's Roman. Now it's like it wouldn't have hit the same if it was Cody.
I don't know about that. I think if you
still the guy.
I think if you flip,
The all-American guy, family man, it would have worked. But
no, but I think if you flip the promo from last night, I still think it works. I actually think it works better. Not last night, from Monday. If we can go into in the post show about how I think that would work. But let's go to. I mean, we can talk about all the different moments. Everything was set up like it was perfect. It was the intertwining of the entire Bloodline storyline.
Yep.
Solo gets kicked out.
When Sammy and KO came out, I was like, "Oh my god, they're actually gonna do it."
I honestly, I had the same. I was like, "Oh, it's happening! It's happening!"
The story was there, dude.
Yeah.
The story was wrapped up in a bow, perfect, signed, sealed, delivered. They just forgot. They just fumbled it out of the mailbox and went down the sewer.
Yeah,
it was just over.
And
this card had a lot of very good false finishes because they were believable finishes to the actual match.
Yeah,
like not just finisher, and then like they kicked out like they used to do. No, like they had sequences that led to false finishes.
It was
very well.
It was an act, and then Solo comes back. Roman hits the super spear, the momentum spear, like he's a fucking juggernaut. That's really what it is, the juggernaut spear, and. The crowd, the energy, the air of the crowd, gone in an instant.
Oh, it's so good.
Absolutely gone in an instant.
I popped so hard.
And even then, I was like, what? I was like, wait, what? Like, I'm very surprised, and I understand, and I talked a lot about this on my Watch the Throne YouTube series, which is on Wrestle Addict Radio, so we're not going to go into it too much. But number one, I think you strike when the iron's hot. I think there's a greatness to something being so limited, and I feel that we missed a golden opportunity because I don't think it's ever going to be hotter for Cody than right now. And I
agree.
And I think you're playing with fire here if you keep on dragging this out. I know there was the narrative that the 1,000 Days things, I get it, but Roman's always going to be in third when you look at the record book, so like numbers don't matter too much. But there was also the narrative of, well, he hasn't really done enough, and then my counter to that is, did Jordan do enough when he was a rookie to become a starter? No, he's fucking Michael Jordan. Sometimes you're just that guy. Did AJ Styles do enough when he first got to WWE and won the title in a year? Did Ronda do enough? Like, when is enough going to be enough? And I think the story for Cody in particular was that he was fighting. He needed to find himself. He found himself. He was ready. He proved that he was ready. And I think this was a time, and he had the investment. He had the crowd behind him. This reminded me so much of what would have happened if Daniel Bryan lost at 30.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that would have been bad.
Like, that's what I was like, what if they did this to Bryan? Because, like, there was no other white-hot babyface I can remember in recent memory that was as hot as Daniel Bryan. Not even Kofi. And Kofi was huge. But Daniel Bryan was on another level.
Ricky, I'm going to 1,000% agree with you in kayfabe.
That's fine.
Like,
that's fine.
Even for storytelling,
yeah.
In terms of storytelling, I think you're 100% right. Character development, I think you're 100% right. And if they didn't just sell the company, I think you would have just been right. If you're in this transition period of selling the company, you want to keep your figurehead as the guy who's on this massive title run. And it's just you got to merge the creative with the actual business side. Cody has money, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But it's just, if they didn't just sell the company, or if Vince McMahon was still gone and wasn't interested in selling the company, I think Cody probably would have won. But when you're going into this huge new company, you got to put the responsibility on the guy who's already been responsible, not someone new.
I understand, and I think business had a little bit to do with it. I'm glad that you said keep the figurehead, the main guy, instead of freeze your assets. Because I looked into freeze your assets. I was like, if they would have just froze the assets, then you would have had no title changes. But you had 2 major title changes on night 1. So it wasn't freezing your assets. But I think that is the better argument there, that it was more so they wanted to keep the guy who got them there still there.
Exactly.
And not be experimental in a time when you're doing major business, and this is
like
major business.
Roman has off-camera stuff as a top guy he still needs to be responsible for. That's way more important than what he does on SmackDown on Friday.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, this is the bigger picture. And Cody can be that guy. I totally believe he can be that guy. Look at him. He looks like John Cena as it is.
Yeah.
So, and he's great with media. And he's the legacy.
Yeah.
He can be that guy, but once the dust settles, he will be that guy.
Yeah.
But Roman is to get him across the finish line first. That's why Bianca kept the belt, I think. Same reason, too.
We're going to talk about that. Bianca had a fantastic
I think that's another reason why Charlotte dropped, so she could pass the torch to Rhea.
Yeah. It's cool. I really hope that WWE does something with this photo that we have right here, because that's a beautiful photo. Like, that's fantastic.
Great stare down.
Yeah.
It's a great stare down.
Absolutely perfect.
The match is like an 8-star match. The match is one of the greatest main events I've ever seen in anything.
Yeah.
Period.
The crowd was so hot. Like, they were ready. They were ready to go.
After 2 very long nights of wrestling.
They were ready to go. I was like, wow. I was like, this is the moment. And I was like, oh, I don't know about this, but I feel like there are a lot of outside factors with that ending. And the other damning thing that I think really upset people is this photo right here. That hurts.
Oh, like the Cena photo?
Yeah.
I see it live when the live come up. Yep, this one. Yep, I immediately thought John Cena.
Yeah.
When he's just sitting there and he lost to The Rock.
Yeah, that. Whew.
That's a great photo because he can't look back. He can't look up at the screen. He's just looking probably at Brandy.
That's when the end credits came up too. I was like, oh, you're gonna end like that? Jesus. That's a heartbreaker and a half.
The cameraman's going, cry.
One tear. And it's one of those things, like, I wasn't upset at the finish because it was obviously a plausible finish. I was perplexed. I was so perplexed. I was like, huh? Based on everything that I said earlier, I was like, this just doesn't seem like we could have fumbled this really bad.
It had to be a kind of a dusty finish, though. One,
which is ironic.
Hilarious.
It's
dusty
ironic,
finish,
yeah.
right?
Dusty finish is
but
ironic.
2, because it means there's more. It's definitely more meat on the bone. It means rematch. It leaves room for a rematch.
Yeah, and it's one of those things that I still will say. I understand rematch, but it's never going to be as good as the first time.
Ricky, I actually had a question for you. I want to say for the show because I almost texted you this during the main event. During Roman's entrance, I was like, how many times has Paul Heyman main evented WrestleMania?
Under Roman, it's 2.
3.
With Brock?
This is the 3rd.
Is it the 3rd?
Actually, yeah. This is actually technically the 4th with Roman. You got the 2 with Brock, the 1 with Brock, and then these 3 title reigns.
Yeah, I think those are the only times.
And then other times with Brock.
Yeah.
So he's like maybe 2002 was he with Brock with WrestleMania. So he's like a 6, maybe 7-time main evented WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Paul Heyman as a manager.
Speaking of main eventing, Roman Reigns has main evented more WrestleManias than Hogan, which is a big factor too. They really want to get over the Hogan hump with Reigns.
Yeah.
In the presser afterwards, Roman did say he was like, "This isn't Burger King. This isn't McDonald's." Like he's like, I'm building a filet mignon of meal of a story. When I thought was also interesting, he said, we're only in the 3rd inning. And I'm like, that's scary. Like, I was like, you're telling me 3 innings took 3 years? Come on, man. Like,
You should have been like, what's the score?
yeah.
That would have been a great question.
Yeah.
Third inning, all right, what's the score? 'Cause I think you're winning
Yes, and
by a lot.
And Mr. Wild P also said it best. Roman's the only man in WWE history that can say he defended the World Championship in 3 consecutive WrestleManias. Hogan never did that.
The same title.
Yep.
That's fucking nuts, dude. Like, Michael Cole was just rattling off stat after stat after stat, and I was like, that's why the ramp's so long.
So Michael Cole keep going.
Also, Michael Cole.
Amazing. I love this man.
Outstanding.
Yeah.
Dude, him laughing at the triple threat was funny because I was laughing at the triple threat.
Because you know what? Michael Cole was like, I don't know what else to say.
Yeah, and dude, the fact that all three of them give a standing ovation, which
never
happens.
Never happens. Yeah.
Never happens.
I was like, wow. Ever. I was like, you even impressed the people who knew about the match.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was that. I mean, continue,
yeah.
please. I know we had to let the card go down, so we can't jump around here. But this photo is amazing.
Yeah, we are gonna go down the card. Yeah, Roman saying 3-0. It's hard, and I think you run the risk of Roman going too long. You know, die a hero, see yourself become the villain. Which Roman is already the villain. But my big thing with the Roman storyline, whatever it is that at some point he needs some character switching and development, kayfabe wise. You know, he needs something. He needs something to kind of like, where's the turn in the story? Because we haven't had a turn in a very, very long time. In particular, the Roman. There's people who have turned around Roman, but Roman's character actually hasn't faced anything that, you know, it's between like winning by himself or like
it's gonna be the Usos.
Maybe it is. He did shun.
He's ignoring.
He
the
did
Usos.
shun the Usos. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the story is gonna be like, who are you guys again? Like he's just gonna ignore them. He's gonna give them the cold shoulder.
Yeah, the silent treatment.
Yeah, and then that's gonna go into a new story. But how's that gonna be a character tweak? He's gonna I don't know.
It's gonna be hard.
Talk shit through all his old matches again.
It's gonna be hard. We'll see what happens. I also was one of the people that thought, I was like, you know what, Roman, you've done enough. Like, take a vacation, dude. Like, take a vacation. I have an idea of how you could make this Roman thing a little bit better. But it's on it. Like I said, it's on our YouTube page, a Wrestle Addict Radio YouTube
Dude,
page.
I don't even think leukemia could take this title away from Roman Reigns.
Oh no, he's kicking out. He's kicking out. He's definitely kicking out. But let's move on from that because we can talk about that ad nauseum. And of course, what a sight that is at the end. What a sight that is at the end. This is also a fantastic picture as well.
Yeah.
With those 2 damn belts and Solo there, the underboss of the Bloodline. Also found it interesting before we move on that Paul Heyman in a I guess a presser or not a presser, but in some media interview that he was doing for WWE WrestleMania said he loves Cody. He's like, we need forward people thinking like Cody. We need people with different ideas to keep the wrestling business going, which is what Cody is doing. And he goes, you don't need my ideas. I'm getting my ideas out through Roman. You know, he goes, we need somebody else with an alternative idea, which I think is going to be a great clash down the road of what these ideas and how these ideas are going to mesh. Which I think, and I also found out that Seth and Cody don't like each other in real life.
Yeah, they really don't like each other, dude. I feel like, dude, Seth is so butthurt.
He is.
He is. He's so like, why the fuck aren't I in the main event anymore? Which is valid.
Great point. It's a great point.
It's like, well, Roman's better.
Number one.
And it's like Cody's better.
Yeah.
Like, sorry, dude. That's just the way it is. You're great. I love you. You're fantastic. But they're just better.
Yeah. There's like, yeah, I'm sorry. Like
it's not you, it's them.
That is. All right, so let's move on to the rest of this WrestleMania card. We're going to restart with night one. Night one was had an
amazing.
Becky G.
I thought it was better.
It was the better night. Becky G did America the Beautiful. Becky G, gorgeous woman, looked fantastic.
Oh, so gorgeous. Good Lord.
Kevin Hart doing the cold opening was a massive surprise and amazing, absolutely amazing.
They couldn't get the Rock, so they got Kevin Hart instead.
Which I'm surprised he didn't make a Rock joke. At the time, before night 2, they had a SoFi Stadium record of 80,497. In comparison, NRG Stadium was the home of the men's Final Four that same night as well. Also the home of the Houston Texans NFL franchise. The Final Four's attendance was around 74,000.
That's a lot of people.
Yeah. So WWE's WrestleMania Night 1 did about 7,000 more people than the men's Final Four, one of the premier sporting events in the world. Just keep that in mind. Let's go to Theory and Austin. Not Theory and Austin, Theory and Cena, which was great. And I will tell you, I've never wanted a John Cena shirt more. I was like, fuck, that's a great shirt.
What was his shirt?
It was like a G.I. Joe homage.
Oh yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah.
His last one, when he
the
16 title belts in like the 8-bit
Yeah.
one, I came so close to. I'm not sure I love John Cena. I've never bought any of his
You
merch.
have that one random ass jersey.
I do have the soccer jersey.
Yeah.
I lied. I have the soccer jersey. But I never came so close to buying another thing.
Yeah. Listen, it was a great match. He brought out the Make-A-Wish kids. I was like, wow, what is fucking propaganda, this bastard. Bringing out the kids. Fucking him. Put on a good match. Austin Theory won the way he was supposed to win. I think this is Cena's last match. Cena's last WrestleMania. Did you notice when he hit the 5-knuckle, right before he started the 5-knuckle shuffle, he bowed to the crowd?
I did not notice that. No.
Look at it if you watch it again. Yeah.
I was too busy going 5-knuckle shuffle.
I'm glad.
I'm not gonna lie. I did that.
I'm glad he just didn't hit that punch.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was good. Theory wins the way he's supposed to win. People still hate Theory. Perfect. Good opener. Very, very good opener.
Fun match.
All right, let's move on to the match that shocked everybody. The men's showcase match was unbelievable. A lot of it because Titus O'Neil is one of the greatest commentators I've ever heard in my life.
God, he was so terrible.
He was just screaming and going. It was like no one told him how the match was going to go.
Yeah, well, they probably didn't.
To rip him.
It's like he just like didn't know what to do.
Call the police! Call the police! Listen, there are a crazy amount of spots in this match. The fact that
Braun Strowman up the top is pretty nice.
Braun Strowman up the top, Chad Gable suplexing Braun and bridging his own body clean was nuts.
Yeah.
Chad Gable's singlet also have the Olympic rings in the back, which I thought was an interesting touch for him because he is an Olympic athlete. So, but the fact that he literally rolled through and picked up Braun, like, people don't understand how hard that is.
Crazy. That was nuts. He's so strong.
Ivar did a moonsault off the top, which he missed. Braun Strowman's Express, and then he got laid out by Angelo Dawkins.
Oh, I popped so hard.
We all did.
I was like, good. Fuck your stupid train bullshit. Get derailed real quick.
You can tell how surprised Braun Strowman was. He gets hit, and he goes, what the He literally says, like, what the fuck? Just
how'd that happen?
Because I forgot Angelo Dawkins was a D1 football player because that's a blindside block that he just did.
Yeah, that was good.
It
was really good.
It was so good. Angelo Dawkins couldn't believe. He was so hyped. He had never laid out somebody so badly.
Yeah, his truck stick to the fuck out of him.
That Ultimate Tower of Power that they did.
It was a fun match. Yeah, it was fun. It was a fun match.
The Street Profits Frog Splash.
They showcased all right.
I was like, yeah, and I went to our Discord text chat, and I was like, I take everything I said back about the showcase match. I was like, that was phenomenal. Ricochet's moonsault almost onto the announce table.
And Michael Cole's like, he paused in midair.
I love Michael Cole so much.
How do you do that?
It was a wild match. I was telling people in our Discord voice chat, which you should have joined, Will. We had a great time. Almost everybody was there.
I know. I was just on my phone.
I get it. You had your girlfriend with you, but I was like, it looks like the production of the people who produced this match said, "Hey guys, do what AEW does, but don't fuck it up."
Yeah, and remember, have fun with it.
They're like, okay, but holy shit, what a match! Let's move on to.
They had a mentality, steal a show. Everyone had that mentality, steal a show.
Which is something that was sorely missed on some past WrestleManias.
And a lot of them really succeeded.
Yeah.
Everyone did a really, really good job.
Let's talk about Logan Paul and Seth Rollins.
Oh, dude, KSI. I was like, it's our truth. And Michael Cole's like, it's KSI. I'm like, oh.
If it was our truth, I would still be laughing to this day.
Dude, because like when he was at ringside, I'm like, oh, I go to Jazz. I'm like, I bet it's his brother.
Mm-hmm. I thought it might have been Jake too. Yeah.
No, it's like he's out there for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's not just marketing. It's like it's KSI. I was like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So let's talk about this. It was Logan Paul's birthday, night one of WrestleMania.
Yes.
He turned 28.
Crazy.
Okay.
I'm older than Logan Paul by like 2 months.
He apparently he had asked to do the zip line thing. Like last year, and they said no. Well, it's like, well, next year's my birthday. Can I get a birthday gift? And they like, all right, fuck it, whatever. Listen, that visual from like a far away, him ziplining in, fantastic look, actually.
It was really cool.
It's very HBK.
I like how they gave him a microphone. It's like, just talk shit in the way to the ring.
The prime mascot being KSI. Seth got a world-renowned musical conductor to conduct the crowd.
And he didn't do a good job. The crowd was like, didn't know when to start.
Well, no, he was actually conducting as you do musically.
I know.
I was like, this is so Seth Rollins. And then he came out looking like Rihanna at the Super Bowl halftime show.
Is that what it was?
It looked more like Rihanna because it was the all red.
That's funny.
It was really funny. So apparently he's getting dressed up backstage, and Becky comes to him, and there's a video of it, and Seth goes, "I told you it was fucking big," and she's like, "Oh, I'm so fucking jealous right now." I was like, "You didn't fucking tell your wife, did you?"
That's funny.
It's amazing. The moment of this match, KSI taking a frog splash.
Oh,
One of the funniest moments I've ever seen in wrestling. He played it so well. He took the frog splash. Seth ends up winning. KSI forced him to do a stretcher job. He didn't get up. They stretcher jobbed him in the mascot outfit. I know nothing about KSI, but man's got a great sense of humor.
I also know nothing about KSI. I know he's like a YouTuber and like a boxer or something.
I mean, again, great sense of humor. Totally gets the stick that he was put in. Perfect.
Yeah, he did a great
Absolutely
job.
Phenomenal.
No shame.
Which is very interesting about this match, contractually speaking, and also confirmed by Logan Paul, this was his last match. Mm-hmm. He confirmed on Impulsive, which we were totally wrong because I thought he had more, but he confirmed that this was his contractual last match. He's technically out of a contract with WWE. I think he should return on a more full-time basis. I understand why he can't, because he's got his hands on a lot of different pots. But I'd love for him to re-sign another deal with WWE, because kid's a fucking natural.
I want to see him versus Pat McAfee. I want to see him versus Edge.
I want him versus Bad Bunny in Puerto Rico.
Yeah, we're gonna get Damian Priest instead. Which, okay, cool.
Yeah.
I want to see him versus Randy Orton.
Yeah.
I want to see him versus a lot of people.
Listen, he put up a main event match against Roman and held his own for the most part.
And then stole a show, at least for some time, against Seth Rollins.
Mm-hmm. Listen, that's two of the best people you can go up against. He's good in my book.
Yeah, he's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Absolutely phenomenal. Great on the mic. Like, he's built for this business.
Yeah, like I said, if he didn't have his hands in so many other places, I feel like he would be there more consistently. But I think he should look into becoming more full-time.
He's smart to do what he's doing.
No, I think he is too. I'm just being selfish. I'm like, dude, we need more. We need more.
Yeah, we do. But less is also more.
Less is also more as well too. That is very true. Moving on. Here come the women match. The 6-woman tag match was actually not too bad. I didn't notice that Becky, Lita, and Trish actually make the acronym BLT. I don't know why I didn't figure this out earlier, but
that's pretty funny.
I did enjoy, and I know you're a movie buff, I did enjoy their Sin City entrance. Again, classic Hollywood movie, Hollywood theme. It was Sin City.
Yeah, it looked okay. Good idea on paper.
The video, it's not production wise, like when they do the live video like color over, it never goes well for almost anybody.
Yeah.
To be completely honest, but I did like the Sin City video package, which was cool. Trish Stratus, my lord almighty. That outfit.
It was her other WrestleMania outfit.
Was it?
Yeah. It was like the exact, the one with like the video packages, and the one I think in his signature.
Oh, from like 19, I think.
Yeah.
She
had the hat.
That's 20 years ago, by the way. Like, Trish Stratus just doesn't age. She can still go. The
I don't know. Her and Lita looked pretty clunky.
Lita, but Trish a little bit more. The Avalanche, I love the Avalanche Manhandle Slam, which is an Avalanche Rock Bottom. It was Dakota Kai and Io Sky's first WrestleMania, so good for them. There's a real.
Yeah, when Roman hit that rock bottom, I popped really hard.
It's a Uranagi. It's not a rock bottom.
He threw the fuck out of him.
Although the crowd thought it was a rock bottom.
Michael Cole called it a rock bottom.
Because Michael Cole also said Sasha beat Bianca a couple years ago, or that Sasha kicked out when she clearly didn't. Michael Cole gets excited sometimes.
He did do that too. Yeah, this match was fine. It was a come down, but it was better than I thought it would be.
Yeah, it was totally better. There was a nice little video package because Dakota Kai is from New Zealand, but she does, and I think New Zealand does have some, I guess, affiliate Samoan heritage. So that's why she came out with the lays, which was put on her by Tamina, which I thought was a really cool.
I did not notice that.
In her entrance, she comes out with, like, I guess, the lays of her culture, which Tamina, I don't know if Tamina gave them to her because she gave the Usos their lays, but I know she helped dress Dakota with the lays. There's supposed to be there's a way it's supposed to fit on your shoulders.
Interesting.
Which I thought was a really cool thing to see in the backstage video. But overall good. The only problem is Damage Control's done.
Yeah,
they're done. Apparently Bayley was supposed to be ringside for the Damage Control match on Monday, but that was cut for some reason, which interesting, but we'll see what happens with Damage Control after that.
What a failure.
Let's move on to Dominic getting his ass whipped literally as we see by Rey Mysterio.
This match was also a show stealer.
First off, Dom's Green Mile inspired entrance. Did you notice that? He was walking the mile.
Yes.
He was walking the mile.
For some reason, I don't know why, I thought 8 Mile. And I was like, he wasn't like Eminem.
No, Green Mile.
I heard 8 Mile, not Green Mile. Yeah, it was great.
He was walking the mile. He comes out. He had mommy on his pants, which I thought was hysterical as well.
Yeah. Great heel.
Listen, Snoop Dogg was more of a host than The Miz was. Snoop Dogg with the lowrider coming out to nothing but a G thing, which was unbelievable. Switching to Eddie Guerrero's theme when they finally came out to a massive pop.
Viva la raza!
Place lost its mind.
It was awesome.
To Ray somehow ran his way up that stage. I wouldn't do that before a match, though. I would have been winded.
I thought he was going to pop up.
I thought so too, but he did not do that. And did you notice his mask? His mask was emulating the Great Muta. That's a Muta mask he was wearing. I
tried to figure it out. He looked like Farouk's mask when he first debuted, his little helmet thing.
Yeah, well, that was a helmet. But this is the style of the Great Muta because he always wanted.
It's more like square.
Yeah, well, more round. He always wanted to honor Muta in some way, shape, or form, and so that's what he did. He talked about it on the press conference afterwards. Was that the mask was 6 years in the making that he tried to do, and it was made by made by someone named Darnell. He only gave the first name, Darnell.
Darnell Rollins.
Yeah, right. bitch. To which he said Darnell is someone from Hollywood who works with Marvel, actually. Which is a very interesting touch that he said. A lot of great spots in this match. Dom splashed water on his sister because it made storyline sense. Take notes, MJF.
See her thong? Ugh.
It might have been more of a One Piece thing. Angie slapped Dom,
it could have been a One Piece thing. You're right.
Angie slapped Dom, which I thought was also a really great touch as well.
Yep. Jazz popped hard for that.
I bet you.
Like, yeah, beat his ass.
You look at her, you're like,
ungrateful.
It's working. Again, another shenanigans.
Great finish.
The LWO, the return of the LWO, which is a great fit for Legato, rebranding them as the LWO.
So weird.
I loved it. He gave him shirts on SmackDown. That was the big surprise.
Yeah, I saw. Yeah. So weird.
Listen, Dom tried to pull an Eddie, but Ray just outsmarted him. Not Ray outsmarted him. Bad Bunny, who was doing the Spanish announcing, by the way,
I almost switched over.
Steals the
I almost switched over.
steals the chain from Dominic. Another great touch. The use of celebrities in this WrestleMania was phenomenal.
George Kittle,
Al Michaels,
Pat McAfee.
Al Michaels showed up. I screamed at the TV. I was like, "Hey, look, this is a real sporting event, Al. no more, no more Monday Night Football for you." Ray gets the win. Fantastic fact. This is obviously continuing. Bad Bunny also is number 2 behind Logan Paul of best celebrity people. This man's the biggest pop star in the world and just got chokeslammed through a table on Monday.
Yeah, that's pretty nice.
Okay. Fantastic. So let's move on to what might have been the match of the weekend if all the other matches didn't happen after this. Rhea Ripley, Charlotte Flair.
My God.
Did their damnedest to be considered the main event.
Honestly, I would have been mad if it was main event. I would have watched the match and gone, all right. That's fine. I understand. The match was amazing. That picture of Rhea sitting over Charlotte and she's just looking up smiling.
Beautiful. It
was great because Charlotte's like, I'm genuinely happy for you.
Yeah, it's the same thing that Sasha got shit for a couple years ago with the Bianca thing. But listen, the only thing that this match suffered from was there wasn't that big of a build leading into the match. But regardless, holy shit did they deliver.
Match is memorable, everything else wasn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was.
Yeah.
It was the match, and I'm totally fine with the match, why they did this match. I get it. They made to make up for 3 years ago, and they did. I think this match is way better than that match ever would have been.
Yeah. Yeah. And it just solidifies that we're going to get a third one, which is going to be, at this point, well fucking deserved.
Yeah.
Absolutely well deserved. They flow well, even when they kind of screw up, like when Charlotte over-rotated on that suplex and saved herself, essentially, by just scoffing her nose.
Oh, landing on her face?
Yeah. Well, we surmised that during that sequence, she realized really quick that it was gonna go bad, so she flipped herself a little more to prevent further injury. Couple of notes from this match. Number 1, produced by Jason Jordan. So Jason Jordan deserves a raise. Like Michael Cole said on commentary, which I thought was a great little tidbit, the first WrestleMania match in history featuring all-female personnel, including Rep Jess and Sam Irving as the ring announcer. So all-female personnel for that. Really cool. Really cool. Charlotte's 7th WrestleMania. Obviously, Rhea and Charlotte's 2nd WrestleMania matchup, which means Rhea Charlotte 3 is going to happen, which I'm very, very excited for. The Avalanche Riptide was fucking amazing at the end when she's like, she's been like, it's my time, and just laid her out and gave the classic Rhea pin because that's how you got to win.
Yep. Yeah, it was great. Oh, so good.
So
her celebration was really good too.
Yeah.
Singing her song and just vibing.
Oh, she had to. Like, if you think about it, like, this is her first true WrestleMania. Like, yes, she beat Asuka that one year on like the first WrestleMania back with somewhat of a live crowd. But this is her first true WrestleMania with like a massive crowd. Okay. So a couple of stats that came up for Rhea Ripley afterwards in the press conference. They called her a Grand Slam champion, or one of the first Grand Slam champions, but she's not. She's the 5th Grand Slam champion, behind Bayley, Charlotte, Asuka, and Sasha. What makes Rhea Ripley's Grand Slam unique, because she had it before this, was that she's actually the only woman in WWE history with the NXT to win the NXT UK Women's title, because she was the first one, the NXT Women's title, the Raw Women's Championship, the SmackDown Women's Championship, and the WWE Tag Team Championship. She's the only woman in history that can say that.
And she will.
And she will, because the UK title.
You can say that.
The UK title does not exist. The women's UK title does not exist anymore. It was merged with the NXT title. So interesting notes on Rhea. I loved it. Great passing of the torch. And somehow you got to cool down from that. And so you bring back Pat McAfee, which again, no one told Michael Cole.
Yeah.
No one's. How do they keep doing this to him?
It's really funny.
But did you see him? Like, when we thought Michael Cole was excited to Rumble, he was like literally like a little fucking kid.
So excited.
So excited.
He loves this guy.
Listen, I don't blame him. I don't know what the future holds for Pat McAfee.
Michael Cole's son could have come out and would have been that excited.
Exactly. I don't know what the future holds for Pat McAfee, but if it keeps Cole happy, keep him around. For love of God.
I want him back on commentary.
I do too. Barrett's doing good, but Cole and Pat are so much better. So much better. Pat McAfee's return was really good, beating The Miz. Again, Snoop Dogg's the real host of WrestleMania this year. Miz was just kind of there, which I thought was really, really cool. And it was a good little cool down spot until you got to this epic main fucking event of night one. The first ever tag team championship main event in WrestleMania history. The first time a tag team match is main evented since WrestleMania 1.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and wow is all I have to say. Beautiful storytelling by everybody involved.
Amazing. It was really good.
By everybody involved.
Jey Uso got fucked.
I love the Usos clean white and red. Like, them in white and red looked fantastic. It was so nice. I loved at the end the haluva kicks. If you notice really quickly, Sami Zayn was holding Jey Uso like he used to hold KO when they had their feud back in Battleground. Mm-hmm. I thought it was a great little touch. There was also a good touch that Sami and Kevin had the PWG logos on their pants, on their gear.
I did not know that.
Yeah, it's on. I think it was on the right leg for both of them. It's the they had the logo, but didn't have the name, but they had the PWG logo because they also attribute the PWG being there where they got their big break in wrestling. So that was their homage. A couple of also interesting homages. KO officially with the winning of a tag team titles. KO's officially and finally a Grand Slam champion in WWE.
Interesting.
Yes, the Usos' reign ends at 622 days. The longest tag team championship reign in history, clearly smashing the New Days, who were at 483. And again, well-deserved. The Usos deserve a fucking vacation for all the work they've done.
Yeah.
Absolutely. A couple of things from the press conference from them, which would end night one. Kevin Owens, when he wasn't eating a Snickers, said that the Usos are underappreciated and underrated to this day.
Which is insane because they're not. I think they're the best of all time.
You know, I mean, but in comparison, I think he was saying in the entire industry when you compare him to like Bucks and all of those other legendary tag teams, and he has a point. And the last thing he said, "What's up, Jamie Roden?" The last thing he also said was that they would not be there without the Briscoe brothers.
Yes.
Which is that's how he ended the press conference. Because we would not be here where we are today without Mark and Jay Briscoe. Which I thought was a really, really sweet touch by Kevin Owens. That is,
classy.
Yeah, very classy.
Yeah, the match was everything I wanted.
Yeah,
I got so excited when they won. I popped so hard at midnight.
Yeah, literally. If night one was the only WrestleMania, I would have like satisfied.
Yeah, night one was top to bottom, pacing very well. It was 4 hours, actually 6 hours with the pre-show.
Yeah.
But it went by very fast.
So quick, so efficient. Everybody hit their spots. It was beautiful.
The match placement was good, and it wasn't exhausting. Like the crowd was also into it. The crowd wasn't exhausted. That's why I kind of don't mind the sponsorships, so like kind of the bullshit in between.
Yeah.
Because it's a nice take a breath.
Yeah, yeah. No, it is one of those things about WrestleMania this year was that this crowd was hot for both nights. They did not stop. The energy was there, and it made the whole atmosphere that much better. Everybody was better for it. Everybody was better. Let's move on to Sami and KO won, obviously. But let's move on to night two. Obviously, Jimmy Allen, who no one knows and no one cares and should never come back to WrestleMania ever, did America the Beautiful. He looked like he looked like he was part of a construction crew.
He missed the line too.
Did he really?
It was the
we were too busy heckling him in the Discord.
It was like one of the chorus lines too.
It was so bad. It was so bad. Kay contacted me and was like, "This is like this fucking man is horrible. Like, who is this guy?"
He forgot from sea to shining sea the first time.
Did he really?
Yeah.
My God, it's the only thing interesting about him that he was wearing imagery of the Freemasons.
Of course he was.
You didn't notice like the G?
No.
Yeah, he had a Mason necklace on. I was like, oh, that's ballsy. You look like shit. I was like, did you not get the dress code memo? Here's what it is. Opening match, Omos versus Brock Lesnar, and no one makes Brock Lesnar look small like Omos did.
Yeah, I told you on this one too. I told you Brock was going to win.
Brock's 7th WrestleMania appearance. Omos played the part though. I've never seen Brock get thrown. Like, that was pretty crazy.
Yeah, he did fine, I guess.
He did
Quick
fine.
match.
He did what he was supposed to do. You came to see Brock. He's a big man. He looks imposing. The fact that he was able to just actually literally manhandle Brock.
Brock sold.
Yeah, Brock sold. That's all that mattered. Brock needed to sell. Brock did what he had to do for Omos. There's not much to say about that match.
Great F5. Great F5.
Yeah, great F5. Brock is still really fucking strong. Moving on to the Upper Women's Showcase match.
Yuck.
You know what it is? They suffered from the men outshined everybody. I was like, you can't compare them. You can't compare the women to this. Like, it's unfair at that point.
Yeah, also, none of them are actually tag teams.
Also true. So you kind of just have to. They did what they did. Raquel looked pretty strong.
Also, Ronda and Shayna didn't do anything,
But took the win because they
just took the win.
Yeah, they give them heat.
I guess the wrong kind of heat. It's like, who gives a fuck heat?
Yeah. I mean, the match was mostly about the 3 tag teams and then Ronda and Shayna. Like, Raquel looked good, Liv was fine. Chelsea Green did something. She was jumping around everywhere, which was kind of cool. But I think more so Liv and Raquel stood out. I think Raquel is up for a big push now, but Rhea's on SmackDown. I think we are going to do Rhea Raquel, which is very good, especially if you saw them in NXT. They work well together. So very, very good there. Moving on to holy shit. The Intercontinental Triple Threat. Again, we talked about this being Gunther deserved a one-on-one. And he still does. But my lord, this is a beautiful match.
It was so good. It was so fucking good.
Yeah. I don't like to... Like Michael Cole, I don't know what else to say. Just watch it. The crowd was hungry for this match.
Yeah.
You know, again, Titus O'Neil, 2 for 2 on commentary again. Losing his mind. Titus O'Neil was us if we were on commentary.
He didn't know what to say.
He didn't know what to say.
He was like, I'm just watching.
Michael Cole didn't know what to say.
It was kind of weird though, because the crowd didn't really pop for Gunther's entrance, and I was like, huh, that's weird. And then 5 minutes later, Gunther,
Yeah.
Gunther.
But I mean, Gunther's entrance was something very reminiscent of like just another final boss entrance as well.
Yeah, it was really good.
So fun good.
It was really good.
I can't wait till he gets an entrance at night with the silhouette. Oh, it's gonna be good. Listen, as long as that strap is on Gunther, the Intercontinental Championship is back to where it's supposed to be.
He looks great too. He's bulked up a little bit.
Yeah, he lost the weight. Now he's bulking back up again. He looks good.
A little more meaty, a little more muscular.
Yeah, I rewatched today his debut when he debuted at TakeOver Blackpool, 2019. It's night and day. He was big.
Just fat.
He was real big. And listen, good for him. It's gonna save his career. It's gonna make his career last longer.
He looks great.
And he looks great. And those slaps still hurt.
Oh God! You see the video of Sheamus and Drew hugging it out afterwards.
They passed out backstage. They're both laying on the floor backstage.
Yeah, it was great. It was really good.
There's not.
I thought Sheamus had it too, but then when Drew pulled him out, I was like, "Oh, that's cool."
This is just this. When we talk about from here on out, when we talk about meat slapping majesty, it's this match.
But keep me hit the applause button.
Yeah. Again, like we said, it is very rare, if not, I've never seen it happen where the announce team gave them a standing ovation. The announce team, which was just, again, unheard of. Absolutely unheard of. That's how good of a job they did in that match. Congrats to everybody involved. Asuka, Bianca Belair. I want to talk about this more so the entrances. Bianca talked about how she again was making her gear last minute. She made her gear. She was the Hollywood star. Again, great touch.
That's funny.
The story came out that she started getting overwhelmed making the gear, and Dakota Kai actually helped her finish it. because she was doing a lot of running around that she would literally fall asleep making her gear at night. Because WrestleMania week's busy for them. They don't really get breaks.
Oh, yeah, especially as a champion.
Yeah, especially as a champion. And then when you think about it, she won this match, got on a plane, went to New York to do the Today Show, got back on a plane, came back to LA to do Raw.
How?
You know, I can understand why she only had a promo on Monday. Like, I get that. Like, that's a lot of time in the air. Her entrance was really cool. So I don't know if you know about this entrance, Will.
I know the little girl, the contortionist, her mom died that day, actually.
That morning, yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, the girls are known as the Divas of Compton. I guess they're a
great name.
Yeah, Divas of Compton. Absolutely fantastic. That story about the little girl and her mom dying and still going out there and performing it breaks your heart. Triple H broke down at the presser because of it.
Yeah, I saw it.
You know,
crazy,
absolutely wild. There's video footage of Bianca being like, "This is your stage. She's like, take up the whole stage. Be unapologetically you. Don't let anything get in the way." There's videos of Seth Rollins being like, "Good job, ladies." He was there when they came back. He's like, "Great job, ladies. Great job." Like, perfect environment for those kids. Absolutely great.
Really cool.
It was really
great entrance.
Yeah, great entrance. Asuka with the multiple Asuka entrance. Great face. I just want Asuka to win at Mania. She's like 0-5.
Yeah.
I want her to win at Mania. And she actually did post a tweet in English the day of Raw. It might have been during Raw, because I think she had a segment that was cut as well. Where she said, maybe I should just go back to Japan.
Oof.
Okay. So that was a very interesting tweet by Asuka as well, because you can tell that she is more than likely very frustrated, and I don't blame her. They're so hot and cold with her. It's absurd. But again, it's also Bianca, and Bianca's your cash cow at this point.
Yeah.
You know. But again, also great match. Great match. The ducking of the mist and then into the KOD. I actually thought Asuka was going to choke her out with her own braid, which has not been used yet. And that needs to be a storyline in the match, which would have been really good. But
I thought she was going to use the hair personally.
Oh, Bianca?
Yeah.
She could have.
Because Asuka fucked with it?
Yeah. Yeah. But let's move on to the quad-breaking match. That was Shane McMahon.
Dude, this poor fucking guy.
So I love the whole bit that Miz is like, "Oh, I'm the host. I'm not supposed to be in matches." And Snoop's like, "No, you have another match." And did you have Shane coming back? Because I didn't.
No. Nope. Like Stone Cold. All right, Shane, that's cool.
What a pop. He was so out of breath, obviously. But he spoke to guys like, "You don't know how much that pop means to me," because it was rumored that he got into an argument with Vince. Yeah. When Vince essentially fired him, he's like, "You'll never get a giant pop like you got again." And well, he got it, and then he suffered the price for it, because he also popped his quads just like his father on the biggest stages. And listen, Snoop Dogg and production, everybody, absolute pros, turned on a dime.
He's like, punch the Miz. I wonder if he actually hit him.
It looked like, the second time it looked like it did.
It's like, sorry, Miz. But it's in a working punch. I don't know how to do that.
Did you see him? Did you see him in AEW? So, again, a bunch of professionals. Snoop turned on a dime with the Miz, and they made chicken salad out of chicken shit as best as they could.
That was probably gonna be the finish, regardless.
Maybe
and it's kind of went home faster. Maybe, I don't know. That cameraman saying this, punch him.
Yeah. Because, I mean, that's how you got to communicate. I also want to say...
Yeah, I hope Snoop called an audible with that people's elbow.
I think he did. I want Snoop as a playable character, and I want that version of the people's elbow as his finisher.
Yes.
As his finisher, absolutely. A couple things about Snoop. Number one, I want that one-of-one championship belt that they gave Snoop. It's not sold on the shop. I looked. I want it so badly. And number two, there's video footage of Snoop Dogg giving the Undertaker and Michelle McCool it's like custom chains.
That's pretty cool.
He was like, "I'm a dog father, you Undertaker. I gotta show you some love, man." He literally gave them matching chains.
Love Snoop Dogg.
Snoop Dogg sitting on house money. Last and certainly not least, the Hell in a Cell, narrated by Russell Crowe to begin with. Again, Brood Edge as an entrance. Very cool. He had the original members of the Brood on the back of his jacket.
Yep.
Which is pretty cool. Slayer was the music to Edge's entrance.
Really cool.
You know, Finn decided to sage the entire arena with purple smoke before he got there.
Also cool.
No, it was very cool, and I'm glad they did this closer to the end of the night. I like the return of the gray Hell in a Cell. The colored weapons, maybe not so much.
Oh.
And let me tell you, Edge should have been a baseball player because he threw a strike to Finn's head.
Yeah, he busted in the fuck. At first, like, oh, let him bleed. I saw his staples. I was like, okay, I can get it now.
So, that's the announcement. AEW is going to London. WWE is going to be there with Money in the Bank. Good job, Tony.
Wembley Stadium.
Yeah,
that's gonna be pretty.
That'll
cool.
be an interesting scene. But the match I thought was pretty good. That gas, if you actually saw the picture, Finn posted the picture of his open gas. So what happened was, because he didn't really seem to bleed profusely after a while, was that off camera they gave him a numbing agent and they did staple him really quickly.
Yeah, that's what they were doing.
Yeah.
Because typically they show him kind of when they're kind of cleaning up the blood a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't realize how bad it was in the moment because I was like, oh, this is such a bummer. It took me out of the match, yada, yada, yada. I'm like, nope, they were right.
Yeah.
I'm the dick, sorry.
Yeah. Listen, it's a fantastic Hell in a Cell. I liked that they kept it inside of the cell.
Yeah, it was fun. It was fun.
Use the imagery.
Wrong person won, though.
Yeah, I thought so, too. I thought Finn broke his ankle when he did the coup de grace. I was like,
through the table?
Yeah, I was like, ooh, that's an ankle breaker. Like, if you land that poorly. But yeah, I think the wrong person won. But again, a fun ladder match. I think this is also Edge's last WrestleMania as well, which leads me more to think that he should have lost too as well. I do agree, but I did enjoy the match. Great use of all the weaponry with that as well. Very brutal, and that is WrestleMania. Overall, I think I want to give it a 10. 10 out of 10 WrestleMania.
I don't know. I gave last year's a 10. I do like last year's better.
Ooh.
Last year with this all this stuff with Austin and I think last year was just I could say it was my favorite of all time last year, and I do stand by that. This one was very, very, very good though.
Yeah.
I'm still bouncing back and forth with what I want to give it. I think just too much promotion, too much advertisements for me. The wrestling is easily a 9.75.
Yeah.
But
I'll have to do a rewatch of it.
The stories, the engagement, the pacing, the actual show, great. They hoard out a little too much about the money, so I'm going to give it a 9.5. The strongest 9.5 I could ever give something.
Whew, that's a bold statement. Night 1 of 39 might be an all-time great Mania in and of itself. I do agree with you, Mr. Frets. Night 1 is a fucking classic.
So good.
Yeah.
Hit all the right beats.
Yeah.
Also, daytime wrestling. I just don't like daytime wrestling.
Daytime wrestling is weird. It is very, very weird. That's what makes WrestleMania 31 weird. Like Undertaker's entrance during the day.
Yeah.
Sting's entrance during the day.
Although I will say though, it did make the main events mean more though.
Yes.
It makes it looked better.
Yes.
It did add a little more oomph.
Mm-hmm.
Because think of the 3 matches that were at night.
Charlotte, Rhea,
Charlotte, the Usos and Jimmy and Jay, and Roman and
Cody.
That's
we're in like total darkness. Yeah.
Total darkness. And those are 3 matches you want in darkness.
Yeah. So good.
It did work out. It did work out, but day wrestling's a little weird for me.
Good.
Also, not that much pyro.
Yeah, the reason for not that much pyro, especially on the outside, was that they are too close to Los Angeles International Airport, also known as LAX, not the tag team, not the team formerly known as LAX, but the actual international airport, and FAA restricts fireworks when you are that close, or outside of any form of outside pyrotechnics when you are that close to an airport. So that's the reason there was no outside pyro. There was only inside, and most of it was wasted on Cody. Most of it.
Roman got a lot of pyro.
Roman did get a shit ton of pyro. And also, thank God they're in a cannon because all that smoke just goes away. But that's the reason that there wasn't any pyro. But WrestleMania Hollywood, listen, one for the books. Philly's gonna be nuts. If that's what they do this year, Philly's gonna be wild.
I can't fucking wait.
Yeah, Philly's going to be knucking thoughts. Not to be outdone, but totally outdone. Stand and Deliver was also earlier that day. Big announcements there. Indy Hartwell is your new champion. She won the ladder match.
I saw that.
Dexter Lumis, and he is him. Carmelo Hayes, the man that we sponsored his last Indy match, has finally made it to the mountaintop, beating Braun Breaker and becoming the NXT champion. You would have loved his Tron. He did his name, Carmelo Hayes, in the Lakers logo.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Trick Williams is still with him. Don't worry. Well, Trick Williams is still there. And then last night on NXT, Braun Breaker finally turned heel. So, yay, character development. Yay, good job, Braun. So they're going to go for a round 2, probably at Battleground in Lowell, Massachusetts, by the way. Which tickets went on sale. But literally, folks, that is all we have. I'm surprised we made it in hour 25.
90 minutes.
Yeah,
90 minutes.
Not bad. I thought we were going to go longer because I was like, we are running heavy on the Endeavor and then Cody and Roman. I was like, we need to run heavy on this.
I thought we easily could have gone 2 hours.
On Cody and Roman and the Endeavor deal alone, absolutely. Yeah, could have gone back and forth. But no, it was. Whew. I've only been maybe this kind of exhausted from watching wrestling when I've been at WrestleManias live. But
yeah, like when we were there in person.
Yeah.
It was a really, really good weekend. I did re-fall in love with wrestling this past weekend,
absolutely,
which is a lot of fun. Raw was ass. Raw was really bad.
There was a lot to be left with Raw after Mania.
I do like the heel turn though. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, it's just weird.
I do like Brock's heel turn and Cody. It's just like, ooh, I'm telling you, man, it's only a matter of time before we start booing Cody.
I know it's weird. Hence again why I think you should have struck while it was hot.
Although when he beats Brock though,
yeah.
When Cody beats Brock after getting the fuck beat out of him for 3 months.
Mm-hmm. There was something weird about that Brock beatdown because I felt really off about it. I was chatting about it with the Queen really quickly during Raw, but there was something really, really weird about that. Especially the amount that they had to censor Brock. Brock's a walking censor in and of himself because you never know what's going to come out of his mouth. But this
was a dagger tattooed on his body.
Yeah,
his whole chest.
Yeah, but they censored him pretty harsh during that beatdown, and then the whole coming out and giving the finger thing.
It made it to Hulu Raw.
Yeah, I thought that was also a very weird touch too. Which kind of set my alarms when I read all the stuff about Vince and stuff, but it just seemed off to me. And there's a lot of things that need a lot of things answered going into SmackDown into next week, especially with this deal looming. Which, by the way, just be that as many folks, the Endeavor deal is not going to be finalized till the end of 2023 at the earliest.
Yeah, a lot of bureaucracy and legal paperwork needs
preventing any hiccups, so nothing is really going to change with the
payments
product.
Need to go out.
It's a lot.
Long process.
Yeah.
So Triple H is still in control for now.
That's what they're going to tell you. That's what they're going to tell you for right now, and so that's what we got.
I mean, has Triple H really booked much different than Vince? he brought people back, and the matches are good, and like few production things. Like they still have the spotlights for titles.
Yeah.
Like Triple H made a few minor tweaks, but his booking policy was pretty similar. Like I think Vince would have made too many different booking changes.
I think the difference is the ability of. I think it's more of the creative collaboration instead of creative control. But I think the wrestlers felt under Triple H, and I think they felt closer to Trips. Where Vince is kind of, from what I've learned, and from when you listen to a lot of wrestlers speak about it, Vince is very kind of, he doesn't have a hold on pop culture. He's very off to himself. You know, he kind of has his own office. People have to line up to go talk to him. Where Triple H seems like he's more friendly with them. You know, he's one of the boys essentially.
Yeah.
You know, which I think there was a little bit of safety with that as well. So I think that's the creative collaboration and creative collaborative environment that Triple H really did enforce. And I think it was more so like, unlike Vince, who is known to change his mind on the fly, I think Triple H gave the wrestlers, I guess, a little bit of security, where it was like, I have a plan, here's the plan, we're sticking to it. You know, I think that's what they liked as well. Where nothing's going to change on the fly. We're like, no, this is what it is, minus some minor tweaks here and there. Execute. We'll talk about the feedback later.
All right.
Type deal. I think that is the bigger difference with it all. And we'll see how Triple H kind of pans this out with everything, because I think the biggest booking decision he had to make was the Roman and Cody main event. And we'll see how that plays out down the road. But until then, let's fucking get out of here, and we can play MIB Asshole on the post show.
Oh boy, that sounds like fun.
Ladies and gentlemen, you have been listening to Kings of the Rings podcast, episode number 335, Hollywood Hangover. And let me tell you, Hollywood had a show, and probably their best show ever, that probably should have gotten an Oscar, that was WrestleMania 39. Wow. Probably the best two-night WrestleMania ever compared to last year as well. And who knows what comes from this, especially with WWE being bought out by Endeavor. I've been your host, King Ricky Rose. You still can't find me going on 3 months strong at Ambassador Big. Still can't find me there across all social media outlets, but you can find Kings of the Rings podcast at KOTR_podcast all across social media, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, Twitch, all that other stuff. If you're listening to us, please listen to us on Wrestle Addict Radio, the cure for the common wrestling podcast, and follow Wrestle Addict Radio socials at Addict_Wrestle on Twitter and Wrestle Addict Radio everywhere else. We have some fantastic merch, which I'm wearing right now on the stream, and pretty kicking TikTok and YouTube page. The links to all of our stuff are in the description below, and a Discord chat too. You can join us on Discord as well. Again, links to all of that in the description below. Will Tarashuk.
My name is Will Tarashuk. That is T. and Thomas ARASHUK, the founder of this podcast. Also the founder of Ambiguous Podcast Solutions, and my other podcast, Talking with Tarashuk, baby. This morning, I dropped an MLB 2023 preview with two of my good old friends, Mr. Alan Schoenberg, who's a friend of the show, and Mike Wilkins, also a friend of the show. So we could get this. They're a fan of the White Sox and the Tigers, respectively. I was like,
all right.
Enjoy another under 500 season, both of you. So we had a lot of fun making our predictions, telling stories about how I was 12 years old when we won all the World Series.
As the Red
all that
Sox.
Fun stuff. As the Red Sox. Yep. Unbelievable. So we had a lot of fun, about 90 minutes, give or take, talking about baseball. So yeah, check all that shit out.
Yeah.
Talking with Tarashuk.
Word. When we come back next week, maybe we'll have a special guest, as the Friends of the Show era is still going on, hint for now. And hopefully we'll have some progression in all of the major storylines in wrestling. AEW is going to Wembley Stadium. Good for Ben. Nigel Guinness is back in AEW. Good for Nigel McGuinness to return to wrestling. And whatever the hell is going to happen, hopefully AEW also doesn't get bought up by Endeavor, because that would be hell in a handbasket. But until then, folks, we're going to get out of here. See you on the post show if you're watching us live. Goodbye, good night, and fuck you, Slack.
Midnight music.
This has been a Wrestle Addict Radio branded podcast.